So, what can you tell me about art, in your best opinion?
Art's like its own language. That's why it's kind of fun to do it along with another foreign language, because art's just another way to express yourself without words. It's kind of like music. You're able to portray feeling and different colors and sounds and experiences without having to really say anything, which I think is really cool. I really like things that are like universal languages.
All right, that's good. Now, what can you tell me about the limitations in art?
Well, when you think about it, there aren't really very many limitations, because art can pretty much be expressed in like most physical forms or even like audio forms, but there is like censorship that happens, and there's also the limitations of who sees it, because like sometimes you want a really big audience to view your work, not because you want to be big and famous, but because it was meant to be viewed by a lot of people, and you just can't get that many people to see it. And there's also the limitations of skill, because sometimes you can have really great ideas and you don't have the skill to execute it. And there's also the limitation of resources. But I mean, if you're into art and stuff, you can pretty much use whatever you have around you and still at least vaguely get what you're trying to put out there.
All right. Now, since we have these so-called limitations, do you think, even though we have limitations in art, can we manage to find loopholes, find a way around the limitations in art?
I mean, if you put yourself hard enough to it, I imagine that you could. I mean, as far as like, people think that you have to be this great artist who has a wonderful, colorful background, has great schooling and stuff, but there's plenty of people out there that don't have any schooling at all and have made it. As far as like publicity goes, there's always ways that you can try and get yourself out there. Like my friends and I, like we're trying to find like a gallery that we can put our stuff in, and it's like we're not professionals, but there's got to be some place out there where we can put our stuff. And I don't know, it's art. I mean, you can, whenever there's a loophole, it's just as easy to go like through the loop, like thread and needle kind of thing. It's just really weird, and I don't know, it's a crazy world out there with the world of art.
Can you tell me, like in your own words, the definition of art?
Because art is any form of expression and creation that has some sort of meaning to the person who creates it. I know it's kind of a debated thing, but yeah.
All right. What do you think about the limitations in art?
I feel like the limits are whatever you set for yourself. If you set your limits at the boundary of your canvas, then that's your limits, I guess. But if you wanted to paint past it, I guess the limits are what you set for yourself.
All right. How about the idea of finding ways around limitations?
I guess it's however creative you are. Like, I guess if your canvas is too small, paint past it. I guess going back to the canvas symbol, but just how I don't know. Just however creative you are, you can just find ways to get around your limits.
So I'm gonna ask you this question. What do you think the truth, like in your own words, the definition of art?
Art, it's a form of expressiveness. It's an expressive form. I guess you express yourself through like a visual form, whether it be like painting or sculpture, or I guess anything from that to like doing movies or something. I guess just expressing yourself through your art, whether it be painting or drawing, I guess.
All right. So what do you think about the limitations in art?
Yeah, I think that there's like limitations if you're painting like a picture, or if you're doing a movie or something. I think that like painting a picture, you can only do that one moment. It's very still. But if you're I guess you can express more things or different things kind of depending on what kind of art you do or how you integrate the different, I guess, the different forms of art, I guess.
All right. Okay then, but how do you think there are loopholes going around the limitations?
Loopholes. Loopholes, you mean, I don't really know. I guess.
You find ways getting around the limitations.
Oh, okay. I think if you combine the art forms, maybe, or if you like think outside of the box, I guess, or come up like with your own style, maybe of art. Maybe you can kind of do that. I'm not really sure, but maybe like fusing arts together and coming up with your own like really unique style, maybe.
So, in your honest opinion, what is art?
What is art?
Yes.
I feel like art is, I don't know, an expression of the human condition, maybe an expression of our emotions and what we feel, what we don't want to talk about. It's a visual representation that lets us communicate with an audience, or not, if you like to draw for yourself. But it helps you put down the feelings that you maybe can't get out with words.
All right. Now, what about the limitations in art?
Limitations on what level? Like
Any level.
any level? Maybe experience. Some people who maybe want to be artists but can't get the proper training for it, so they're limited to, I mean, they can practice on their own, but they're limited to what they know. Maybe limitation on the materials they have. Not everybody can afford to buy a lot of the materials that you need to paint a masterpiece. But I feel like some people even still can make it by without having everything that you need to make art. Yes.
All right. And any chance, can we find loopholes around these limitations?
Yeah. I'm sure you don't need to be like buying expensive art materials in the stores. I'm sure people find ways to make their own canvases or make their own tools for art. So I think that you don't have to make a masterpiece on a $500 canvas. You can make a masterpiece on a wall. You can make a masterpiece on a piece of paper. You can make a masterpiece on just about anything.
All right. In your own definition, what is art?
My definition, art is just creativity and what can be perceived imaginative in the mind, or I don't know, something really creative, like in that person's sense, kind of thing. So.
All right. Can you tell me about the limitations in art?
Limitations. Limitations, like I'm sorry, what do you mean by limitations?
Like, you know, like what's keeping us from like being creative in the sense of art?
Oh, I guess you can say for limitations can be exceeded in a way, because artists, they like to exceed in art, and it's just go beyond your bubble, try to be more imaginative and creative.
All right then, and what about going around those limitations? Is there ways there are ways like loopholes around those limitations?
I guess you could say that, yeah. For artists, it's mainly there are many loopholes. You can do different mediums, you can do different canvases. There's just so many stuff you can do with art. I don't think you can say that there's any limitations for art.
as you can see, with all these limitations, we still find ways, the loopholes, to being creative and being ourselves in art. No matter what is given to us, we can still be creative and be different in such different ways.